How do they get there? The main way they get there is through Deuteronomy 28. You can even watch a DVD about Deuteronomy 28. Pass that around. That's a very special movie. It's got a pastor killing a Hebrew Israelite in it. It's a low-budget movie made by Hebrew Israelites. Look at that. Deuteronomy verse 28:68. Whole thing. Pass it around. All about Deuteronomy. Why is that important to them? If you read Deuteronomy 28, Yahweh says, I gave you the law. Now keep the law or else you'll be cursed. Sometimes we know the blessing part. Be blessed in the city, but when it comes, when we go. We like that, right? Blessed. You guys know that? That's from Deuteronomy 28. Israel, keep my law, you'll be blessed. Did they keep the law? Pretty much no. So instead they got the curses. That's the second part of Deuteronomy 28. Read through them sometime. Messed up stuff happened to Israel all throughout the whole pages of the Old Testament. You'll be cannibals. Your king's going to get jacked. Your walled cities are going to come down. You're going to plow for other people. They're going to steal your kids. It all happened. What do you think Hebrew Israelites do with that? That's what happened to black Americans during the transatlantic slave trade. Read verse 68. Deuteronomy 28:68 says you're going to go in ships back into Egypt and then be sold into slavery. Deuteronomy 28:68. That's what it says. In ships back into Egypt. But they came to the United States of America, right? So what do they do with that? Well, those ships were slave ships, but see, Egypt doesn't really have to mean literally Egypt. It means a house of bondage. And the USA is like a new Egypt because it's our house of bondage. So what it's saying, not we're going to go into Egypt. Why would you take a ship to Egypt? By the way, there are examples of taking ships from Israel to Egypt. That's a canard. There were examples of that. In fact, Josephus talks about Romans and Greeks, I believe, I forget which one now, but one of the conquerors of Israel, taking them to the port outside of Alexandria, which is in Egypt. So that did actually happen. Don't let them tell you, why would you ever do that? They did do that. But they'll say Egypt's a house of bondage, so our house of bondage now is the United States of America. That's where those ships are. They're slave ships. And then in the King James Version, it says, you will be sold, but there will be no buyer. That kind of doesn't make sense. How's it a curse if there's no buyer? That's what the King James Version says. King James Version, some of you are not going to like this, got the grammar a little bit wrong there. It's not because it's a reflexive in the Hebrew, which means that it's essentially something you do unto yourself, basically. That's a quick way to explain it. It's not you'll be sold, it's you will sell yourselves. That's why every modern translation in Deuteronomy 28:68 says you will sell yourselves. Why would you sell yourself? You're poor, you're broke, indentured servitude. That's why it's a curse, there's no buyer. If you're being sold, you'd be like, you'd be in the slave market in North Carolina, right? South Carolina, whatever. No buyer. Yay, that's great. That's not a curse. So that's why it doesn't make sense to say you will be sold. It's saying you will sell yourselves, but there will be no buyer. It's saying even when you sell yourselves into indentured servitude, the demand is going to be low for you. You're going to have to sell yourself super cheap even for that. That's what the curse is ultimately saying. And also it says back into Egypt, but they make it the USA. But it's back, so you've already had to have been there. Deuteronomy 28:68 is not about the transatlantic slave trade. Transatlantic slave trade was very bad, but it's not talking about Deuteronomy 28:68. That's not what it's about. That's our key verse, though. But the thing is, the one Westers have a problem because their 12 tribes chart, the people who are of Issachar, supposedly Mexicans, never fulfilled that verse. So when they tell me that, I'll say, yeah, but you think you could be an Israelite without fulfilling Deuteronomy 28:68, don't you? Because you think Mexicans are Issachar. So what do they do with that? They teach Solomon had a navy, which he did have a navy. But the Navy went out to sea to the tip of South America, got lost, never came back, and then started the South Americans. How did they get there, right? That's the type of thing that they teach. Because what about how did they get there? So that's the type of thing they'll say. So if you look, it's interesting though, if you look at what Solomon brought back during the day when he was bringing stuff in, the Bible actually says this in Kings. It says baboons, peacocks, ivory. Not from South America, right? Those things are not from this side of the globe. They're from this side of the globe. Anyways, so just a quick refutation. But that's a place they'll use Deuteronomy 28. They'll say it only fulfills our people, not those so-called Jews. So that's the next thing we're going to go to.